We begin tonight with breaking news out of Washington Township. We have a live look here. The coroner is on scene of a deadly crash there. This is West Social Road. It's currently shut down right at Yankee Street at that intersection right near the Speedway. Our crews on scene says that closure goes through at least Paragon Road up the street from West Social Road. Now this is what the scene looked like earlier this evening. Centerville police, an ambulance, fire truck were all there. Again, this is at West Social Road and Yankee Street. The investigation still very much ongoing for this, what appears to be a deadly crash. Our photographer on scene said they did see another vehicle that had some front end damage, so it appears to be a two-car crash. We are still working to learn information about injuries and, of course, the coroner again on scene of that crash. But as soon as we learn any new information, we will pass that along to you both here on air and online.
Well, tomorrow marks 1 year since the toxic train derailment in East Palestine.
Yeah, Norfolk Southern freight train carrying toxic materials derailed in that Ohio village. That released hazardous materials into the air and the water. And since then, crews have worked tirelessly to clean up the derailment site. Now, Norfolk Southern says it's now in the restoration phase. So we want to walk through a timeline of the event starting with the initial incident. 38 train cars derailed that day, some carrying vinyl chloride, a carcinogen. 100,000 gallons of hazardous chemicals were dumped. 2 days later, on February 5th, officials began planning the release of those chemicals. More residents are asked to evacuate. The next day, crews burned vinyl chloride in a controlled explosion, caused that large black plume of smoke that we've all seen. The fire burned for 2 days before it was finally put out. The air quality was deemed safe then, and the evacuation order was lifted. It wasn't until the 21st that the EPA ordered Norfolk Southern to pay for that cleanup. Those cleanup efforts began February 24th, 3 weeks after the initial derailment. Now that started with removing contaminated soil around the tracks.
And tonight, Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost is vowing to get answers for the state's federal lawsuit against Norfolk Southern, no matter how long it takes. Terry Sullivan has his words.
At the end of the day, we need answers, and answers don't come in a minute. We're going to have to let this process play out, and we intend to do that.
Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost offering an update into the state's federal lawsuit against Norfolk Southern. Last year's train derailment in East Palestine released more than 1 million gallons of hazardous chemicals into the environment.
Despite the rumors that you may have heard that settlement is in the works or is imminent, from the point of view of the state of Ohio, nothing could be farther from the truth. There's simply too many answers that we don't have, and no responsible public official should be pushing to reach a final conclusion or a resolution on this lawsuit.
The NTSB is investigating the cause of the derailment, but has yet to issue its findings. Yost says that report might not have all the answers his office is looking for.
I'm going to stand in the courthouse door until we have the answers that we need to make sure that the resolution is fair and regards the long-term health and safety of the people of Ohio, and specifically East Palestine. You are not forgotten.
Yost says there won't be a settlement until the state gets all the facts, and it won't be resolved quickly. In Columbus, I'm Terry Sullivan reporting.
Well, since the derailment, Ohio senators have been vocal about passing the Bipartisan Rail Safety Act and amping up long-term health screenings. Senator J.D. Vance spent the day in East Palestine today saying these health resources are needed to make the community feel whole again.
If the cleanup is done by midsummer of 2024, which is what they're currently suggesting, and if we can give people confidence that chronic exposure is not going to be a major problem, I think it's going to be a lot easier to put this community on the right track. If we fail in some of those things, it's going to be a lot harder.
Both Vance and Brown say they're confident the Railway Safety Act will pass once they get it to the Senate floor. The bill, though, has stalled.
It goes down to the power of the rail industry. I mean, the fact that Norfolk Southern and other railroads have continued to oppose this bill because they've always put profits over people. As I've told the people of East Palestine, I keep telling them, I'm here for the long haul. I'll always fight for the people of this community. I'll always fight to hold Norfolk Southern accountable, and I'll always fight to make our railways safer.
While both senators have continued to make trips to East Palestine over the past year, President Biden will soon visit for the first time. The White House announced this week he'll be making that trip at some point this month, though it's still not clear exactly when he'll visit.
Now, the East Palestine community is still recovering, coping a year after the derailment. One man who works across the street from where the train cars derailed says he's worried about what might be clinging to his clothes when he heads home to his family. Another woman says she and her husband have been sick and aren't sure if it's related to the chemical release.
They say it's all safe, but I don't know. There's a lot of people getting rashes and sickness. I mean, I go in through the basement and take off all my clothes every day and go take a shower before I go hug him with. I don't know what I'm bringing home.
A lot of people in town feel that people are making up their sicknesses, which is not true. I mean, you got people that were coughing up blood. It was coming out the other end of them blood.
Now, many residents want to leave, but aren't sure who would buy their homes. Norfolk Southern says it's got a program to help make up the loss of real estate value, but neighbors still don't know if the situation in East Palestine is getting any better.
Now, this is a story, of course, we have covered extensively over the past year. You can find all our stories right now at Dayton247now.com. A 3-vehicle crash causing northbound lanes to shut down on I-75 today. Now, that crash happened near the Miami-Shelby County line. OSHP says 2 people were taken to the hospital, but the extent of their injuries we're still working to figure out. That crash is also still under investigation.
But what this weather did not provide is a shadow or reason to hide. Glad tidings on this Groundhog Day. An early spring is on the way.
Just waiting for my microphone. There it is. It's like a rock concert out there. Puxkatani Phil, that legendary prognosticator, says after he woke up, he did not see his shadow this morning. So let's go to our own resident number 2 prognosticator, Tim Boyd, in for Natalie tonight. What say you?
I wonder how many cups of coffee that guy had, because he looked wired. He was really enjoying himself. But temperature outlook. So because of Phil predicting an early spring, figured I would take a look at the Climate Prediction Center's spring outlook. So they do a seasonal outlook. So this is for February, March, and April. Typically when we show you these, they're for 6 to 10 days out. But this is actually for the next 3 months. So you can see for our area, we are expecting above average temperatures, which also falls in line. You've heard a lot about it, I'm sure, with the fact that we are in the middle of an El Nino right now. So we'll continue to see these warmer than average temperatures and hopefully that early spring.
All right, let's go to international headlines now. In the Middle East, the United States has launched major airstrikes on 85 targets in Iraq and Syria. It's the start of what will likely be a series of large strikes on Iranian-backed militants. Now, that is in response to a drone strike on a U.S. military outpost in Jordan Sunday. That killed 3 U.S. service members and hurt 40 other troops. Now, the president promised this week to retaliate for those attacks. Tonight, he's saying the U.S. military response will, quote, continue at times and places of our choosing, end quote. Now, the strikes appear to stop short of directly targeting Iran, which denies it was behind the attack. The administration trying to deter further troops or attacks on U.S. troops in there while avoiding a full-scale conflict with Iran amid growing tensions in the Middle East.
And Sunday marks the start of Burn Awareness Week. Burn injuries are one of the leading causes of accidental deaths and injuries in children. That's according to Shriners Children's Ohio, which is one of 4 hospitals in the Shriners system that specializes in burns.
So Gwyneth Falloon joining us now live in studio. What should everybody know about this?
Adam, this year's theme is Flammable Liquids Burn. They say it's a good time to take a look around your own house and identify some of the common household products that may be flammable, as well as learn more about the most common burns in children and how you can protect yourself and your kids.
See a lot of our burns from hot liquids, be it bathroom injuries with the tub or shower, or hot cooking liquids.
It's one of the most common unintentional injuries in children.
I think the importance of this week is really to start thinking about when these accidents happen and how we can make home a safer place.
Dr. Sarah Higginson stressing the importance of Burn Awareness Week as Shriners Children's Ohio saw more than 300 new burns last year.
We get a lot of hot noodle soup accidents, not using a table, trying to sit a child in front of a screen or a TV and they're eating in their laps.
Nearly half of the injuries in 2023 were scalds, which is an injury caused by hot liquid or steam. Dr. Higginson says these just take a second to damage the skin, where flame injuries need longer exposure. The Dayton Fire Department warns the most common fires often start in the kitchen.
Oftentimes fires in the kitchen relate to inattentiveness. Stay with your stove or stay with your oven when you're cooking.
However, there are also a number of common household items that are combustible and flammable that you should be aware of.
Nail polish remover is a big one.
Others include hand sanitizer, hairsprays, cooking oil or grease, even paper towels.
If it's within a few feet and you've got a stovetop going, particularly an open burner, if you have a gas stove or something like that, certainly there's a possibility of those combustible objects igniting and causing a fire and causing some burn injuries.
But even if something does happen, Dr. Higginson says,
accidents happen and it's common, and we're here to help when it does happen.
Now, if one of those accidents does happen, doctors say you should run the area under cool water, not ice cold water, and then wrap it in clean and dry bandages. If the burn is larger and causing intolerable pain, or you are just worried, they say you should seek professional help. Back to you.
Today, a peaceful Gaza protest held outside Congressman Mike Turner's office. Organizers from the Greater Dayton Peace Coalition say their reasons for the protest was because they're strongly opposed to the ongoing war in Gaza.
The weapons that they're using on Gaza are supplied by the United States. In many cases, we certainly provide military aid, and that needs to be contingent on Israel behaving as a responsible nation. And, you know, nearly 30,000 people have been killed.
I say we need to keep our tax dollars at home and use those tax dollars to serve the American people.
The protesters are asking for the representatives and other members in Congress to demand a ceasefire.
And you may have noticed all of us wearing red today, of course. That's because the first Friday of February every year is National Wear Red Day. It's to highlight the need to raise awareness about heart disease in women. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death of women in the U.S., and it has been for decades. But there are preventative measures that can lower your risk. Doctors with Kettering Health say men tend to have heart attacks and strokes at a younger age, but for women, it happens at an older age.
But then women catch up in the postmenopausal period. So in their 50s and 60s, they catch up and even gain on men.
Doctors say women experience more atypical symptoms like nausea, fatigue, and aches in the lower jaw and arm. But what can you do to prevent it? Doctors recommend healthy diets and exercise, getting regular checkups, and no smoking or vaping.
New programs at local universities helping set high schoolers up for success, how it could lead to a future career and even a full ride.
And the largest private investment project in Ohio's history is now delayed. Why? The start date of Intel's project has been pushed back.
And just how long some of that sunshine remains in the Miami Valley is coming up in your full forecast. Here's a look at your Eco Plumber Sky Cam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Universities are offering new programs for local high school students. Lydia Bice spoke with UD, Wright State, and the Dayton Public School District to learn more.
So there are two new projects that I wanted to highlight for our viewers. Number one is what the Dayton Public School District and Wright State University call the Take Flight program, which is an amazing opportunity for ninth graders here at Belmont High School, where I am right now, and at Thurgood Marshall. And what they're going to do is they're going to work closely with Wright State throughout their high school careers, which will eventually lead to free tuition at WSU.
The intent of the program is to really just create a college-going mindset and to help students ensure that they realize their potential.
Now, the second program that I wanted to highlight is the City of Dayton's Legal Immersion Program, where high school students all across the Miami Valley will spend 2 weeks this summer in June learning about the legal system and future career paths. Now, this program is a collaboration between the University of Dayton and high schools all over the city of Dayton.
I'm looking for all students that are a part of underrepresented groups, so whether it's socioeconomic, racial, or whatever it may be.
Glover, who is a law clerk with the City of Dayton through the W.S. McIntosh Scholarship, created the program, saying that she wishes she had something similar when she was picking a career path or thinking about a future in law back when she was in high school. Now, in the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com, I've linked the websites to both of these different programs so that any parents or students can go on there and learn more. Back to you.
And a live look from our Eco Plumbers Sky Cam. Let's send it over to our own little Punxsutawney Phil.
I see what you did there. National temperatures right now. You just called me a rodent?
You're cute.
Okay, thank you. 32 degrees in Dayton. I'm trying to do a forecast right here. Warmer temperatures to I'm going to skip this because I am running out of time. Wind chills right now. It's a little cold out there. 24 degrees in Dayton, 21 out towards Springfield and Richmond. And satellite radar showing clear skies. We have a few clouds out there, but again, we have that high pressure to our north. So that is going to slide into the area, bringing us some pretty clear conditions through the next couple of days. You can see here lots of sunshine, a change in the pattern that we have been seeing. Weekends have been, every day has been kind of gross lately with gloomy conditions and a very wet pattern we had last week. But weekends in particular have not been the greatest either. So we're looking at pretty clear sunny skies all weekend. Temperatures closing in on that 50-degree mark. You can see right there the best chance for some 50s going to be on Sunday. 7-day forecast. That sun carries into the beginning of your week as well, and so do the 50s. And if you want to see mid to upper 50s, we could even see that as we head towards Thursday and Friday ahead of our next weather maker.
I think we all just needed to see the 7-day forecast with the 4 days of sun. It's done after that. Well, there's a delay in Intel's $20 billion chip-making project in Licking County. The company now pushing back its 2025 start date for making computer chips in Johnstown. Jeremiah Wilcox explains why.
The company cites market challenges and the slow rollout of U.S. grant money. Its initial timeline had chip making starting next year.
People wish it was sooner than later, probably, especially if your business is dependent on that.
Johnstown Mayor Donald Bernard says 2025 was a lofty goal. He believes the delay could be a plus for the community.
It's actually a benefit for us because Intel was a big drop on us. Johnstown wasn't prepared for a development like that. It's given us a better chance to prepare and be totally ready for when they open and all the businesses that will be coming with it. So I think it's a benefit for us.
The setback not dampening the spirits of those looking at the benefits to come, like Leonard and Johnstown Council President Tiffany Hollis.
When you hear a year delay, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so long. But when you really put it in perspective of what they're doing, it's just kind of a blink.
All right, we got a chance to meet some dinosaurs in Dayton this weekend. Which
Real dinosaurs.
Darn right. The nation's biggest dino experience. We'll tell you all about it next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7.
Well, you can meet some real dinosaurs this weekend at the Dayton Convention Center. Jurassic Quest, the nation's biggest dino experience, bringing the prehistoric era to life. Kids can ride and race dinosaurs, play games, even train them in the raptor pen.
You not only get to meet our baby dinosaurs, you also get to meet our Utah raptors, Diego and Jojo, and you get to actually train them and learn facts about them. It's just an amazing place to spend time with your family.
Well, there's plenty of educational content too. You can dig for fossils, see real ones. There's a ton of interactive challenges too for your little adventurers. So it's all this weekend. You can buy tickets, learn more about the event at JurassicQuest.com, and it runs through Sunday.
Dayton 24/7 Now is once again teaming up with the Humane Society of Greater Dayton to find forever homes for animals across the Miami Valley. Join us this Thursday, February 8th, for the 4th annual Epic Pet Give-a-thon. You can show your support and donate now by scanning the QR code on your screen or by texting EPIC24 to 76278.
Dayton men's basketball going for a second win this week, but would the Flyers be on upset alert against St. Bonaventure? We find out next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.